Welcome everybody to a Game Informer Podcast Extra. We are all here to do something a little fun, something a little different. I'm your host, Ben Reeves. Game Informer obviously is the show where we inform you about games, but today we're going to be informing you about awards. At least hopefully, we're going to do some predictions for the upcoming Game of the Year awards, which are going to air on December 10th. The yearly Jeff Keighley extravaganza, as we like to call it, gives out awards to everybody, also announces some fun games. It's usually a good time.
Most
so
definitely.
To join me, that's right. That is the voice of Alex Stadnick.
Oh, he's back. Hello. Hi. How's everyone doing?
How's it going, Alex?
I am so good. I was just telling you guys off camera. I love this stuff. I don't know why I love awards so much, but I do. So I'm very happy to be on this.
That's right. And Blake, how do you feel about being on this?
6 out of 10. Rent, don't buy.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see.
That's fair.
If your opinion changes. Marcus Stewart's also here.
Hey, I'm here to talk about awards and the people that get them.
That's right. And last but not least, Leanna Rupert. How's it going?
I love you guys. I'm excited. Let's break it down.
Great.
Let's
Yeah.
get it.
Well, we usually do this every year as part of the podcast. This year, we thought maybe we'd do something different, break it off and do its own thing, see how it does. So let us know what you think. I'm going to run down the categories. I have all the categories, all the nominees. They're already done. And you'll just tell me what you guys think deserves the spot and what you think will win. So, I mean, in some cases, that could be two different things, honestly, right? So we're going to try to predict what is going to win. So give me the one thing that you're going to think is the game you think will totally win that category.
For sure.
It's pretty straightforward. I don't think you need any more explanation. But here's some more. I also took out a few categories. I don't think we're going to run down all the esports stuff just because, sake of time, I don't think our audience necessarily wants to hear us ramble about esports all the time. If you do, write in, let me know.
And we're all experts
And
on
then-
it. So, you know.
That's right. And then the other thing you should know, two more things you should know is one, Game Informer participates in these awards. We do get to vote as an industry, I'll say leader. We're a leader in the industry. So we vote. So we know what we voted for. We just don't know what's going to win.
For sure.
So we don't have any inside information other than what we voted for. And then the other thing is, I think we're going to add some stakes to this, right?
Maybe quite literally.
Maybe even a literal stake. I think the winner, the grand winner who gets the most points on all of their predictions will get some kind of dinner. The rest of us will chip in and buy you dinner. So steak dinner, Domino's pizza. I don't know. Who can say?
We'll
Yeah,
find
I'm
out.
already getting hungry.
Yeah.
That's right. Are you guys ready to jump right into it?
Oh, I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to go in reverse order. I like to start with the little guys. We'll work up to Game of the Year at the end here. So the last category I have written down is Best Debut Game. The nominees are Carry On, Mortal Shell, Raj, An Ancient Epic, Roki. I'm not familiar with that one.
Mm-mm.
It's Roki, and the O has the little umlaut over it.
Like the
It's
And then-
very-
Oh, that's
it's very-
Roku. Never mind.
Yeah, just like the Roku device. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last game on the nomination list is Phasmophobia. Thoughts?
Y'all
Gotta be
know my
Phasmophobia.
feelings.
Are we going down the
Yeah.
line or are we just
I was going to say, let's start in the same place and then go to and from. We'll keep it organized. So,
Is this your podcast,
oh,
Alex?
you're right. Sorry. Let chaos
Yeah.
reign.
Guys, here's what I think we should do. Start in the same place, work our way down each time.
Ben
all right?
Reeves. That's why you're the
Great
host,
idea.
man.
Alex, what are you thinking?
I think this is Phasmophobia all the way. I think the way when we're voting counts in this, it matters. I think Phasmophobia is one of the hottest things, or was one of the hottest things on Twitch. I think it has the cachet with streamers, everyone around. So I think this is Phasmophobia's to lose.
To lose.
Yeah, does anybody think it's not Phasmophobia? Because that's what I'm going with, honestly.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, that's probably the safe bet, even though I feel like Raj could be a weird curveball.
Raji,
What was that
Raji.
game? What was Raji?
it was
Did you play that?
yeah, it was an Indian studio that delved into Hindu religion symbols and kind of a story through that. I thought it was fun. It had some good combat in it. And it didn't stick with me though. I didn't beat it, but it was a really good Switch game. But yeah, I liked it. It was a different perspective than I've gotten before.
It's kind of how I feel about Carry On. I think Carry On was a really cool idea. It was the horror game, Metroid style game where you play as the creature. It's this amorphous blob that takes over the station. But a neat idea, really cool idea. And execution didn't stick with me.
Yeah.
And I kind of
Yeah.
same with Mortal Shell. Cool. cool little game, cool graphics, but didn't love it. Whereas Phasmophobia, it's been Phasma phenomenon, really.
That's the sequel.
People can't stop talking about it. Right?
Phasma phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it
that's
gave-
right.
Dropped its new prison map too
Yeah.
for a beta build. So it's like right before the Game Awards too, where everybody's suddenly talking about it again. Like
That's
that was
smart.
strategic.
Yeah,
Y'all know they did that on purpose.
yeah, definitely.
Blake, what are you going with here?
Last of Us Part 2.
Do you-
Good choice. Yeah, you really helped the show keep moving along, don't you?
Phasmophobia, of course. Of course. I've never even played Phasmophobia and I love it. Just from like watching people stream it, like I'm all about it. Give that game an award for sure.
If
Perfect,
I am
yeah.
8-bit ever does a physical release of that, I want that on the cover of it. I haven't even played it and I love it. Blake Hester, Game
Yeah.
Informer.
That'd probably be the only quote I would ever approve for a game cover would just be that one.
You guys want to do the next category? Let's keep
Let's
them
go.
coming.
Keep the good times rolling.
Do it.
Next category is Best Multiplayer. Nominees are Animal Crossing New Horizons, great game. Among Us, also a great game. Call of Duty Warzone, sorry, I stumbled over that one. Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, and Valorant.
They sorry. They determined Among Us was okay for nomination?
That caught me up as well, too, because that
Yeah.
game came out a couple years ago. So
Yeah, interesting.
this is its breakout year. I assume
For
they
sure.
kind of
I
give
think-
it a little nod, like, hey, you know
Yeah.
what? We missed you back then, but
Yeah, I
now
think
we
it's fair.
noticed ya.
I think it's fair to do. I just didn't know that they had
It's like
made
that scene in She's All That where she takes off her glasses and you're like, oh, hello.
Yeah, who
You
hasn't
are
seen
only
that
five.
movie?
After 2 years hanging around her, yeah.
That's right. You're
It's,
not just a nerd.
What happened?
Is that the movie they spoof in Not Another Teen Movie?
Yeah.
When they take off her glasses, she walks down the stairs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Got it. Yeah, I'm
Probably.
familiar. Not Another Teen
Yeah,
Movie.
that's a throwback.
Underrated.
I haven't heard that movie.
I was gonna say
I think it's going to win Best Multiplayer Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
that's what the tea leaves are saying.
Yeah,
Well,
this
that's why-
is a lot.
That's why I'm choosing Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout.
Really, you're going with Fall Guys?
I don't know. I am on the fence with that one because Fall Guys was such like a burned red and hot like the sun for like a week, and then
Yeah.
it feels like people just
Yeah.
kind of forgot about it.
This is a hard category.
Yeah, this is a lot. This is pretty stiff competition here. God, I could see Among Us. I'm like torn between Among Us, Warzone, and Animal Crossing. Really.
I want to see Among Us win. You guys know how passionate I am about my Among Us. Like I've written how many freaking stories about it. I want to see Among Us win, but realistically, Warzone's gonna win. Because I mean, Animal Crossing there's cool stuff. Like people have held like weddings and stuff in there with COVID and everything, and that's great and that's cool. But like when I think Animal Crossing, my mind doesn't immediately go to multiplayer.
Well,
And I feel like
Exactly,
how
yeah.
impactful Warzone has
Yeah.
been in both the esports scene and the casual scene, and how it's even influencing future full-on Call of Duty releases. I want Among Us. Those sus little jelly bean astronauts deserve the crown, but like I feel like Warzone's gonna take it.
Yeah, and I have to. Animal Crossing's multiplayer is like actively bad.
like getting in, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a way bigger pain than it needs to be. So,
I
Okay.
yeah, I might say Warzone 2.
Warzone 2.
The sequel.
That's
As well.
What do you
Oh,
know?
yeah. I was gonna save
Should've
that for the
missed it.
announcement predictions, but
Yeah.
So yeah, Warzone question mark.
Okay, Alex, Blake.
Warzone all the way. No
I've-
question.
I think this is a good time to differentiate myself and get a lead on you people. I think it's gonna be Among Us. I think that is still like when you go to the big streamers, when you go to Dr. Lupo and you go to Courage Dunlap, like those guys are still streaming it. Like everyone is. I think when we're voting matters on this, and I think because Among Us still has that zeitgeist appeal a little bit, I think it's gonna pull away. Whereas a couple
Among
more,
Us, we have corpse too.
yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go Among Us 2 only because as an award show, and Jeff Keighley loves this, it would just be a great story to bring those devs on stage to be like, we released this game 2 years ago and no one cared until now,
All
and
three
now
of them.
now
They're
we're
all four of
back.
them.
Yeah.
All four
Or
of
four.
them.
Yeah,
Right after they win, then they roll the trailer for their next game. Among Us
Warzone
2.
2.
Warzone 2. Yeah,
Among Us 2 : Warzone.
I'd play it.
yeah,
Yeah.
100 astronauts.
I would play it.
So yeah, I'm gonna switch to Among Us. I'm gonna.
I'm switching to Among Us as well. You guys talked me into it.
Alex, we didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, buddy. We
No,
love you.
I made my point, and I influence people around me. I'm good. Let's get to the next one.
All right, next category: best sports. Oh, sorry, triggered there. Best sports / racing game: Dirt 5, F1 2020, FIFA 21, NBA 2K21, or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Tony Hawk. Oh, Alex goes first. Sorry.
And, I mean,
yeah.
talk however you want. Yeah, Alex, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Tony Hawk. I think that was such a breath of fresh air for a lot of people in a year that I don't think sports games are really a highlight. Even I think the most visually impressive is NBA, but I know a lot of people have that problems with that. Kim has a lot of problems with it, and I think I don't know anyone who is like, oh, I don't like Tony Hawk when it was good. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Tony Hawk's something that can unify the world, and I think Tony Hawk will unify the game's journalists as well. So that's my pick.
Yeah, Marcus or Blake.
I'm gonna go with Tony Hawk.
The Birdman.
It is sad that the best game of the year, the best sports game of the year, is a remake, right?
Let's be honest.
Remastered game.
Kind of.
Sports games have sucked for a while. Like, they're not doing anything innovative. EA is not doing anything to endear them to people by putting advertisements in games. Like, 2020 was a crappy.
Well, it's too late. I was going to say, you already said it.
It's a year for sports games.
You don't have to keep saying it.
just loop it constantly. And FIFA has been the same game for the last 6 years, so screw it.
But Leanna, soccer's been the same game for decades. They gotta. The solution is that sports need to add more new rules.
They need to
more explosions,
modes and stuff. Like Madden tried. They did a couple things, and NHL kinda, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they need a quick kick in the butt, and I feel like if Tony Hawk wins, that'll give them a kick in the
for sure.
Plus you get,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and put my name on Dirt 5 just to be different partially. I think you guys are right in that is definitely the best game of the year. I think maybe it'll get knocked because it's a re-release / remaster, but they did do a good job on it, so I'm torn. I think you guys might be right, but I just want to be, I'm trying to get ahead. I'm trying to win my pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
it's the second pizza you've won this year.
Oh, did I really win that one?
I think we all
We'll
won.
see. Tune into Extra Life to find out. Yeah. Okay. Next category is best sim / strategy game: Crusader Kings 3, Desperados 3, Gears Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator, or XCOM Chimera Squad.
It's a weird mix of genres.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very weird mix.
It's a very different game.
A lot of strategy games and then Flight Simulator.
Yeah. I mean, I guess flying is the ultimate strategy. I don't even know how to, because I don't know what the metric is. They're comparing these games. I don't even know how to go about picking one over the other.
That's the hard part. It's like, exactly, you nailed it. Like, how are you comparing these two? I feel like Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm kind of tempted to give it to that just because it's made such a big splash and it was such a technical achievement and a technical marvel, even though I didn't like get crazy into it.
See, I'm leaning Crusader Kings just because that's been a bit of a sensational line.
For sure. Yeah, both of those came out guns a-blazing, and I don't think people were expecting like the amount of critical praise that both of those games received. But I do think both of those games like fell off in interest, which doesn't mean they're not worthy of an award, but I think I'm going to lean Microsoft Flight Sim. I think the technical side of that is overwhelming.
I would love to see XCOM Chimera Squad take the win, but I feel like it released at a time that was also kind of left the wayside. It was amazing. It was met with great reviews. It was a phenomenal experience, but I feel like so much has happened this year that people just kind of forgot it existed. So I'm going to say Crusader Kings.
Yeah, I'm with you. Chimera Squad is maybe my personal favorite on that list, but I don't think that's going to win.
It's too much stuff has happened since then.
I think Flight Simulator, most impressive one to me. It's the most. Sorry. No, I genuinely. This sounds hyperbolic. I think it's genuinely the most impressive video game that came out this year.
Really?
for sure.
Wow.
The entire damn planet in there.
Yeah,
That's
from
great.
Yeah.
from a technical standpoint, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that alone will probably cause a lot of people to nominate it. I don't know. I think
See,
the
I'm,
game's
I'm
yeah,
wondering if
so
they're
cool.
combining like it has to be a good sim, but also have some strategy in it. 'Cause then it's like,
Strategy,
if it
yeah.
was just sim, then Flight Sim would like run away with it. But now it's like,
Strategy and
Yeah.
sorry, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that was it.
Yeah. Pairing strategy and sim feels very weird to me because if it was the strategy, it'd be like Crusader Kings 3 all the way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that
you're
was a
putting
choice.
you're putting a game like that up against Flight Simulator. It just feels like
feel like
it feels
two.
like it feels like a category they know two categories no one cares about in these awards, so they're just mashing them together and shoving it
They
out.
should have combined sports in there too and just had a super category.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Marcus,
go
they have
Crusader.
10 esports categories. They're good.
You know what? I'm gonna
Leanna,
go,
which one did you land on?
Crusader Kings.
yeah,
Crusader Kings. And Marcus, you were about to say?
Crusader Kings.
All right, interesting split there. We'll see what happens there.
nice.
All right, best family game. The nominees are Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, Mario Kart Live, Microsoft Dungeons, or Paper Mario: The Origami King.
I think this is one of the locks. I'm giving it the Stadnik lock, and I think it's Animal Crossing all the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. Animal Crossing.
I think if Animal Crossing isn't any of them, it's pretty safe bet to say Animal Crossing.
This was like
It was the savior of 2020.
this was like Luigi's Mansion, I think, last year. It was like, yeah, this is usually like a good Nintendo spot, and I don't know how many other awards Animal Crossing is going to win this year, so I think this is a good place for that.
I could see Minecraft challenging it maybe, but that's about it.
I don't know. It's got the Minecraft name, but we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
Minecraft, also kind of Paper Mario and Mario Kart Live are kind of like good, interesting games. Whereas like Fall Guys, Crash, I think are good games, like one step above that. And then Animal Crossing is just like 3 steps above that, is like a great, interesting phenomenon, right? Yeah, Blake, what were you gonna go with?
Animal Crossing, for sure.
So good.
I sent some him and Ha in there.
I was about to say, like, you're
I
saying
almost-
for sure. You didn't sound totally sure.
I've been having this internal battle about whether I want to do a bit where I just say Last of Us Part 2 for every nomination, and that him and Hall was actually the moment I decided not to run with that bit. So I'm gonna say
So the-
Animal Crossing.
It's all
Trust your gut. Trust your
The
gut.
internal
All right.
struggle.
Yeah, Animal Crossing though, for sure. Like, I mean, I personally did not get into it, but the way it, oh man, this sounds like something like the New York Times would write, but like made gamers out of non-gamers, you know, like like was really special. Like my partner is all about it, but the way it made like my partner, like I was like, you have a Switch and you have Animal Crossing, do you want me to buy you these games? I think you should check out. And she was like, no. like that's just her game. And so I think like sheer numbers and the power of that, like it's an obvious shoe-in for an awesome family game.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Great.
This is
You
the
guys want to
first Animal
see
Crossing
how
game I've ever
they
played.
filled out? Sorry, Leanna, I'm talking. Do you guys want to see how they filled out the best fighting game nominees?
Yes.
Yes.
When you say it like that, no.
Well, can you list off 5 fighting games that came out this year? I can't.
No.
So
course,
their
there were-
list, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Fair enough. It's a cool looking game. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, which is the downloadable expansion, we'll call it, for Mortal Kombat, which is a lot of fun. Street Fighter 5 Championship Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and then Under Night in Birth EXE.
I have
That
no
One
idea what
Punch
that
Man
is.
game looked really cool. I hope that
It
wins.
was actually really good.
Was it?
deserved to win, but it won't.
I literally forgot about that game until just now.
It's
I should play it.
It's
Damn.
pro-
you should. If you like the anime, please play it. It's so
Sure.
much fun. It's
Yeah.
so
I mean,
goofy and amazing.
I'm gonna vote for that just because I remember thinking the trailer looked so cool. I'm into that.
listen, I look forward to the steak dinner you're buying me.
Marcus, what trailer did you enjoy from this year?
Well, I saw a bunch of Tenet trailers.
You know what? I
Um,
stayed away from that. This is an aside. I stayed away from Tenet. I haven't seen a trailer. I'm like, I don't want to know anything about that movie. I'm going to enjoy it in the theater.
Oh
It's
no.
like
those
worst
There
year
you
to ever
go.
do that. Yeah.
I think even in a year where the fighting game genre was like popping, I think Mortal Kombat kind of walks away. I think as a complete package, top to bottom, that is nothing touches that this year. Especially, you said they listed Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate and not Aftermath?
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, I assume it has something to do with their rules of like whatever came out to retail or something. I have no idea why they did that, but
Okay.
that's
Well,
what they did.
I mean, Ultimate has Aftermath in it.
That
but it's
includes
just-
Aftermath. Correct.
So,
yeah.
like, as a complete fighting game package, because there's all the DLC, like, nothing touches that.
I'm assuming they just don't want to list the DLC because that's DLC. They want to list it as like whatever the new game is.
For sure.
But I'm with you. I think Aftermath was great. It's probably the best fighting game I played all year, / only. But that's what I'm going for.
I think you can't beat Mortal Kombat. Anytime, as much as I love Street Fighter, I feel like Mortal Kombat is the Animal Crossing of fighting games.
That's
If you
what
put that
they've
in a
always said.
category. Yeah. It's a normal saying, okay? But yeah, I think once you put Mortal Kombat in there, it's case closed. It's got a cult following. And with there was that new animated movie that came out, and then there's a live action movie in the works right now. There's a lot more conversation centering around that franchise than the Street Fighter franchise right now.
Fair enough. Alex, what about you?
Mortal Kombat. Moving on.
Yeah, seems like the way to go. Okay, best role playing game. Here's a good one: Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royale with cheese, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Don't
This
do
is
this.
this
to
is
me.
this is a
This
stacked
one's
category.
insane. Yeah.
It's pretty stacked. I feel like for me, there's two that rise above the rest, but
I'm gonna take the L because I know it's not gonna win, but I stand by this for the day I die. This is the hill I die on. Yakuza Like a Dragon deserves to freaking win every award category it's in. Boom.
All I
I
hear
think
is the
best fighting
truth.
game.
That's all I
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, I don't think that's too much of like a Hail Mary, honestly, Leon. I think Yakuza has a serious chance at winning this.
It should. If you have anybody
Yeah.
watching, if you have not played it, do yourself a favor and play it. It's absolutely incredible.
I'm working on
Final-
it. I'm working on
Yeah.
it.
Final Fantasy is also very good, and also Final Fantasy.
And Sephiroth and this Gen Tech with that booty. Oh, I love it.
Anyone have?
I didn't really
nobody has,
pay attention to his boots.
Get little booties on.
So,
They're
Marcus, while you're deciding, Alex, Blake, what are you guys thinking?
I think there's definitely a late push for Yakuza, especially in like the journalist space, because I think a lot of people share those opinions. I think fans of Final Fantasy almost across the board were delighted with the remake, and I think that is such a strong brand for such a strong game that I think those feelings are going to resonate even 8 months after release. So I'm going to say Final Fantasy.
Who's on there? Wasteland 3.
Wasteland
Yakuza.
3, Persona 5 Royale, and Genshin Impact are your other choices.
Yeah, Persona 5. Oh boy.
Wasteland 3 too is really good. And I don't think it's
Wasteland-
enough to win, but
Wasteland 3 is really good. I just feel like it's not popular enough. If this is a popularity contest, it's not popular enough, unfortunately. Persona 5, another great game, but I think the fact that it's kind of a re-release with extra content, I'm going to knock it for that. So I
That's
really
true.
feel like it's probably Final Fantasy or Yakuza.
That's true, Ben. I forgot, and I'm glad you brought that up, that it is the fans voting on this, and that's keep in mind. So it is a popularity contest.
Fans have less of a it's way different because I looked at
Oh,
the
is it?
rules. Like I think journalists is like 90% of the consideration, and then the community vote is 10%, and then they do some math and spit it out.
Ah,
I
okay.
didn't know that in our
Eh.
audience. They're gonna be mad.
And even though the 90%, I think it's still,
Mm.
Final Fantasy, Yakuza are more popular among, the press even than Wasteland.
Definitely.
All right. I'm gonna go.
I'm going with Final Fantasy.
I want to say, yeah, I want to say Yakuza, but I'm gonna. My head says Final Fantasy, my heart says Yakuza. Even though I love Final Fantasy to death, I think that game's great.
Yeah.
But
It's
Final
So you're going Yakuza.
No, I'm
I
going Final
think-
Fantasy.
Oh, all right.
Sephiroth. Do it for Sephiroth.
And you're going with Yakuza, Blake?
Yeah, for sure. Yakuza, the Yakuza Renaissance is Among Us. No pun intended with Among Us being nominated a few
I'm
awards
saying
ago.
they're putting Yakuza in Among Us.
Yeah, right. I think post Yakuza 0, at least in the States, we have seen just the fervor climb, and Yakuza Like a Dragon seemed like the apex of that. And I think it's gonna be maybe a surprise win on this one, but I think it's gonna take it. It's also
Great.
better
Best
than Final
action
Fantasy.
game.
Action or action adventure?
Gauntlet Run. Best action. Well, I'll read the games and you can decide, I guess.
Okay.
It's just action. Doom Eternal is one of the nominees. Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4.
Here's what I got. And this applies to the other category as well. I've done some research on the winners of the last couple of years, and to win Game of the Year, you also have to win your category. So I think, and this is the bet, I think Hades wins this, and if Hades wins this category, Hades is going to win Game of the Year. There's another beast in another category that we will discuss when we get there, but I think if Hades can get over Half-Life Alyx, which I think it has a good chance because a lot of people didn't get to play Half-Life Alyx, but I think if it can do that, I think it is a serious, I think it has a serious chance to win Game of the Year. So I'm going to say Hades for this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think as a video game professional, which I often call myself, Half-Life Alyx is the game I prefer on my personal list. But I think for some of the reasons you listed, I think Hades will probably take it. And also Hades is a great game. Like it deserves some awards. So that's what I'm going to pick.
Yeah, I genuinely think Hades is the best action game of this year, so I'm going to stick with that.
Same. Hades hits on a lot of different levels. Good story, great art, fan fiction fodder, great.
Half-Life Alyx.
Good.
You're going for it.
Throwing it out there.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
If Half-Life Alyx wins, Jeff Keighley should tell everyone to look under their chairs and everyone gets a brand new PC to play it.
Yay.
That would work because no one's going to be in the audience.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. Forgot
Wow,
about that.
big F you, Mark.
Oh, man.
Blake,
Well,
if you're ever in Chicago, come over. You can play it. We've got a
Okay.
whole room dedicated to VR.
we-
Oh,
hell
that's
yeah.
dope.
it still has. You check under your chair at home. It's still there. Don't ask how he did it. But
The magic of the Doritos.
you don't want to know, probably.
Ta-da. Well, speaking of VR, that is the next category. Should I even read off these nominees or?
No.
Sure. We could use a laugh.
Move along.
I mean,
Why should
Half-Life
Mark-
Alyx is on here, obviously. Dreams, Marvel's Iron Man VR,
Oh,
Star Wars
Dreams?
Squadrons.
Yeah.
Dreams,
Yeah, I
man.
forgot- I
Star Wars
forgot you could play
Squadrons
Dreams.
and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
A lot of good stuff.
You know, they just launched that free VR update from Microsoft Flight Sim today. So I guess, but it's too late for
Doesn't
them, I
count.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Half-Life. Can you just pencil that down for all of us, I guess?
I feel like it's Half-Life Alyx.
You pretty
It will
sure?
be.
Somebody
It
can
will
say,
be.
speak up right now if they want to go and be a
Nah,
crazy person.
put me
but-
down for Dreams.
Oh,
I
There we
will
go.
say
All right.
It's not
Walking Dead Saints and Sinners did really well, and I'm not just saying that because I was technically on the dev team for that, but like it really was. That's my one and only developer credit I have. But Walking Dead Saints and Sinners actually is a really good because it's not rooted in Walking Dead. But I think that Half-Life Alyx was the most impactful, so that's gonna be my win. But you should plug.
Great.
Like, Saints and Sinners.
And like I said, you'd have to be a crazy person to vote for anything else. So next
And-
category, innovation in accessibility.
Did
we
you
can
put
go
me
through
down
this
for
one quick,
Dreams?
but
real quick?
I did.
just
I
meant-
recognize
okay.
you as a crazy person. Yeah.
That was also before.
Innovation in accessibility, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperdot, The Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion.
Wait,
Oh,
this is for
Hyperdot.
accessibility.
Accessibility.
Why is Assassin's Creed on there?
We'll have to text Jeff.
What
Yeah, I don't know.
Get
I
Jeff
mean,
on the
I-
horn.
I'm confused by that because I mean, yeah, it has some accessible options, but nothing that's not almost a standard now. That's weird. Anyways, Last of Us blows all of those out of the water.
Yeah.
Last
I
of
feel
us.
like Last of Us did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't.
Also-
Hyperdot's a great game. We know the developer, great guy,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It's interesting. It's cool that's on here. And then Grounded, there's some cool stuff, but Last of Us, I feel like went a step above.
100%.
For sure.
Great. Best indie game. Carry On from Phobia Game Studios, Fall Guys from Mediatonic, Hades from Supergiant, Spelunky from Mossmouth, and Spiritfarer from Thunder Lotus Games.
Hades. Which actually scares me because I feel like it should win this, but I feel like if it does win this, then it's not going to win Game of the Year.
Yep.
So like it'll be bittersweet to be like hooray, and they'll be like, oh no. Uh,
Really? So you're going with
Possibly
reverse
excited.
Alex logic for this one? You think they
Well,
would give
yeah.
it to this as like a nod?
yeah, they're like,
But wouldn't it be
like,
weird if it won Game of the Year and didn't win this?
Well, I mean, that would be weird. I mean, logically, for me, it should just win both. But I can
Yeah.
see them like using this as an excuse to give it to Hades to be like, all right, that frees us up to give Game of the Year to one of the other not Hades games. But yeah, if it wins Game of the Year and doesn't win this, that would be really odd. But that's happened in Game Awards past where like something wins Game of the Year and it's like, but it's not best whatever category. Like so a lot of times it is, like Alex says, but there have been occasions where it's like, how come it didn't win the other category then? That can be hard to predict sometimes, but I'm gonna say Hades wins this, but I almost don't want it to. Just weird.
I like that. Yeah.
I 1,000,000% agree with everything Marcus said. Put me down for Hades.
Hades.
I say Hades. This could be a spot where they want to reward Fall Guys because I don't know how many categories Fall Guys has a chance in outside of that. So if Hades does not win, I think this is where they give it to Fall Guys. But I say Hades as well.
This is maybe weird, pedantic, but like, how are they determining what indie is? Because Fall Guys and Carry On technically have publishers, and the other
Maybe
games were self-published.
studio size.
Studio size, aesthetic. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
like, does Devolver count as an indie publisher? Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
Good
just something
question.
stuck out to me on that one.
Yeah, I think we're all going Hades as like it. To me, feels like it's the game. I like a lot of the games on this list, but Hades is a step above them all. Best ongoing game. The nominees are Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
Warzone,
Alex, what do you think?
Warzone for all the reasons Liana listed earlier, and
I thought Blake. I'm surprised Blake's thinking about it. I thought this would be like a bullet for you.
Yeah, I just think it's Last of Us Part 2.
hey,
No, I want to say Warzone, but for some reason I can't get past Apex. I don't know why. It's just it's sticking out of my brain, and I'm caught between these two right now.
Apex does a really good job
Did-
with its story.
Yeah,
Being
like
a battle royale game, it has a really good story.
I think like Fortnite probably should be the winner. I think based on who is the judge of these things, Fortnite won't be the winner.
that's a good point.
But you know, I'm gonna go with my gut on this one and say Apex Legends.
As they just dropped a Mandalorian and possibly God of War crossover in Fortnite.
Right? Yeah.
True.
Well,
That's what I think
Fortnite,
should win.
it's a juggernaut. It kind of defines like what an ongoing game should be these days. But
I
did it
know.
win last year? Do you think?
It did.
Yeah,
I wonder
Fortnite-
if that just for that reason give it a nod
that's
to
what
something
I'm-
else.
love to hate on Fortnite, and it's so funny to me because I know most of those people hating on it publicly still play it in private. 'Cause it like it still has the highest concurrent player count in its genre other than Warzone, and people are eating the crap out of it in terms of monetization. Just admit you like it. It's cool. And even if you don't like it, you can't deny the impact it's had on that genre. Like Fortnite is doing. The game is done and it continues to surprise people, and this long into the game the fact that it's still doing that is absolutely insane. That being said, my winner is Warzone.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Warzone too, but No Man's Sky would be actually a fun dark horse pick.
That'd be
That's
wild.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm gonna
This
go
is-
for it. I'm gonna go for Fortnite. I'm just gonna do it.
I think it's
Somehow this is the first like category that I feel like has truly conflicted me, you know?
You've
I'm
been-
sticking
Well, how
with
about this one? How about best performance?
Last of Us Part
So,
2. Are you kidding me?
nominees it is actually nominated twice in this category. Blake, Ashley Johnson as Ellie for The Last of Us Part 2, Laura Bailey as Abby for The Last of Us Part 2. Oh man, I don't know how to say this guy's name, and I'm sorry. Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai in Ghosts of Tsushima. Anybody know how to say his name?
No,
That's how I would have done it.
apologize.
So I apologize as well.
Ian Cunningham as Hades in Hades, and Najee Jeter as Miles Morales in Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go with Laura Bailey as Abby. I think it comes down to the Last of Us girl, and if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go Laura. I feel like if that game didn't happen, I would give it to Najee Jeter because Miles Morales is fantastic.
It's so good.
I want to vote for Miles, but I don't. But I think it's going to be Ellie. I don't think it's going to be Abby because as much as popular as that game is and how many titles it sold, there's too much hate for Abby, and people are really close-minded about that character. And I feel like people were really uncomfortable with how well written she was because we didn't want to like her and sympathize with her. But I think Ellie did
Yeah.
a great job. She did a great job at really bringing the violence that we see in a lot of male characters and unapologetically bringing it to a point where it was guttural and very uncomfortable. And that's the entire point of her arc in that game. And if you felt uncomfortable with that, she did her job right. So I think she is both going to get it and deserves it.
I think it's between the Last of Us girls, and I think they both did a great job. I'm going to go with Laura Bailey though, because personally, as my personal take, I think that's the winner.
There it is.
I think
Great.
As a video game
I think-
professional, that's my take.
Abby's the best character Naughty Dog's ever done, so I'm gonna go with her.
I genuinely think Ashley Johnson's performance as Ellie and then Laura Bailey as Abby are two of the best performances in all of video games. Like
For sure.
for everything Liana said, and I think it's going to be Laura Bailey as well. I think what she was able to accomplish in that role of taking a character for reasons that I hate. I wanted her to die every step of the way, and flipping that and making me question my allegiances was crazy impactful. And there's been very few performances that have done that for me. So I think Laura Bailey will get this, but this is a really good year. I think because really like Najee killed it as Miles. The gentleman who played Jin Sakai, I know people weren't super high on the character. It depends who you talk to, right? But like I know I really liked his character, and I really think he brought that pain and anguish of that situation to light. And same with Logan, the guy who played Hades. Like I think he did an awesome job
Cunningham.
too. Yeah, I loved coming back down to his office and seeing him exasperated talking to me. Like I think this is like a banner year for performances, but I think Laura Bailey will reign supreme.
I feel like in any other year, you're right. Any of these guys could take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to deny Last of Us and the work they put. They put a lot of work into like that narrative and like those scenes and the acting. So they put a lot of time in. So it's kind of like makes sense that it stands out. All right, next category is Best Audio Design. The nominees are Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, and Last of Us Part 2.
That one's hard.
This is another really tough one.
Game experiences alone are already really subjective, but like audio, that really is about as subjective as you get.
For sure. And maybe this is recency bias, it very well could be, but part of the immersion with Half-Life Alyx is its sound, because I think if everything sounded weird and like a tin can, you wouldn't get that level of like, oh my god, like I'm in City 17. So my vote's Half-Life Alyx. I think it blows it away. I will say Doom though, with the weapon effects and how punchy everything feels, is great, but I think this will be Half-Life's category.
I think it might be leaning Last of Us just because I think the as messed up as this is, some of the audio design with just the NPCs when you murder them,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
is very effective. Like hearing some person just gurgling blood
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my god.
as their friend. It's like Steve in the background. Was more effective than I thought it would be. That stuff really never gets to me, but that was made me stop and go like, oh wow, I did that. So for that, I'll just say Last of Us.
I think Doom
Yeah.
is gonna win.
Really?
Really? Why is that?
I just feel like the sounds make you feel like a badass. Between the ambient game sounds itself, like retain that classic Doom feel, and also the music just makes you feel like a total badass. I feel like if we're going from the vote perspective, I think Doom Eternal. Personal perspective, I agree with Alex about Alex.
That's a good podcast name.
Yeah, I agree about Alex. I just don't think it'll win.
I don't think it'll
I guess
win.
I'm losing my confidence. I'm kind of voting Last of Us, I think.
I'm going Doom Eternal.
Throwing
People
it
are
out there,
batty
baby.
for that Mick Gordon soundtrack, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so score and music is different than Ben, just FYI.
Oh, Backspace, Last of Us Part 2. Then.
We got it. Team Last of Us.
Banded her.
So
but that's
next
fair.
category, you guessed it, best score and music.
Doom Eternal.
You don't even want to hear the rest of the categories?
No. Yeah,
Okay.
I
God.
Next nominee.
wait, hold on
Final
now.
Fantasy.
Hold on now. Oh, nominee. I thought you said category. Continue. This is going well.
Next category. All right, let's start from the top. Best score in music is Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Last of Us Part 2. All have pretty great soundtracks, in my opinion. I'd love to see Ori win something, but everybody keeps raving about the Final Fantasy soundtrack.
It
And like,
really
I
is.
feel like,
Yeah.
and it is good. I think it didn't hit like close to home for me like it did everybody, but I feel like that might be the one that wins.
The nostalgia. And then there's literally a quest where you hunt down music.
That Final Fantasy soundtrack, like I'm with you, Ben, 'cause I also love the Ori and the Will of the Wisp a lot, and I'm trying to find a
Yeah.
place where it could win something, but I think soundtrack is one of the easier ones for me, where like Final Fantasy, like that era theme in particular was the only song this year that I got genuinely choked up hearing for the first time. Like it's such a great rendition of that song. And I think every track in there is just knocks it out of the park. I think the sound is one of the strongest things in that game. So yeah, I think Final Fantasy almost runs away with this.
It's maybe a weird lead in, but I did not like that game at all, except for the music, which stuck with me for basically the entire year. I thought the music in Final Fantasy was incredible, especially the opening sequence as you're like flying through Midgar
Mhm.
City 17. Yeah.
Mushroom
as you're
Kingdom.
flying through Midgar, when that splash screen hits at like the apex of that song, that moment was fantastic. So I think it'll pull through.
Wait, so you're not going to vote Doom Eternal now?
No,
Wow.
Damn.
aren't you
Not
glad I read
compared
the
to-
rest of them?
Quick.
All right.
yeah, not compared to Final Fantasy. No, definitely not.
I agree with you though. Like Doom had a good soundtrack.
Oh, it had
Yeah.
a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I wish we could count freaking Devil May Cry 5 though. Like I know it already came out, but they have like the new edition. That soundtrack. You want to talk about making you feel like a bad? Oh my god, I felt like I could just like punch everybody in the face.
Now to curveball this whole thing, Kentucky Route Zero objectively has the best soundtrack of the year, but wasn't nominated.
Like I gotta play this. When someone has
It's so
that
good.
much of a passion for that, I gotta try it.
Yeah,
So good.
Soundtrack, really? All right. Well, what
It's
are you going to
awesome.
vote for, Alex and Liana?
Final Fantasy.
I think we are headed to a very sad reality in my mind where Ori walks away with nothing. I think as much as Alex is underrated because people aren't playing it, I think Ori is criminally underrated. And I hope I'm wrong because
That's on God.
I
think
agree with you, Alex. And like our next category is the same thing where it's like, man, I would love Ori to win it, but I think another game might walk away with it,
I
and
agree.
that is Best Art Direction. Nominees are Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Ori Will of the Wisps, which I would love to win, Last of Us Part 2, and Ghosts of Tsushima.
Oh my God, Ori.
Ooh.
my heart.
Ori.
I think this is the only category this has. Score too, but like I really think this is the only shot this has to walk away with something. But I also think Ghost is in a similar situation where Ghost is in jeopardy of walking away with not a lot, and I think that's where this wins it. I think Ghost gets those push that push over the top because I feel like we're getting more into these categories of like game of the year of the bigger stuff. And I think people are realizing, oh, we need to get Ghost something. And I think people would prioritize Ghost over Ori. I'm speaking for outlets that I have no clue who they are, but I vote Ghost. But I think
Ghost also looks great.
it's incredible. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from that. But I think these two categories are where Ori could win. I don't think it's going to win either. And I think Ghost is going to get this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I wanted to go to Ori. I can see the argument against it to be like, oh, it's just more of that first game again, even though it looks much better. But I think the one thing people go back to with Ghost is that art style more than anything else, and that's my favorite part about that game too. Like I'm not as high on Ghost as a lot of people are, but I did enjoy it. But the art is what sticks out to me about that game, and I think that's going to be the thing that pushes over the edge for everything else.
And
So-
it has the
Like the black
Kurosawa
and
mode,
white
like the
mode,
black
yeah.
and white mode. Yeah,
Oh,
like
I forgot about
like
that.
We
the
were
fact that it
literally on
works
the
in
same
black and
page
white.
right
Yeah,
there.
it's like black and white. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It was
so
beautiful.
is that what you guys are voting for as well?
No,
Yeah.
Ori.
I love it.
I think
Yeah.
Ghost is going to get it too because they recently came out with a multiplayer update, and so now it's even more fresh in people's minds. a lot of times with
Mm.
these shows, it's whatever is most fresh in their mind. So like a lot of the games, unless it was super like, oh my God, life changing, if it came out earlier in the year, it's more than likely going to get forgotten because then you've got the big releases that hit around October, November. And with the multiplayer release, I think just Ghost is going to be on people's, and people want to see it win because it was stunning. And like, if you would have said the concept of Ghost of Tsushima, and then you would have said, not having seen anything, and be like, and they're going to add multiplayer, everybody would have crapped on it. Everybody would have been so mad, like they were when Cyberpunk announced they were going to have multiplayer, of like, oh my God, multiplayer, no, everything needs multiplayer. And now they have it, and people are revering it just as much as they did the base game. And with that, I just think it's going to sweep this category because of that.
Definitely.
But
Wow.
I'll eat my hat if I'm wrong. I don't have a hat, but I'll eat it.
I will find it.
And Blake,
Oh.
you're going with Ori.
Yeah. Game's
Man,
amazing.
it's such a good
Beautiful.
game. Like, not to put all my cards on the table, but it is like maybe my game of the year right now. So I wish more people played it. Or I think it did well, so I think people played it. But if you haven't and you're out there, go play it. It's great.
Oh my God.
But
It's
I-
on Game Pass. No
Yeah,
excuse.
Please, it's on
Also-
Switch too. Like it's everywhere.
Also, real quick, that thing runs at 6K on Xbox Series X. I guess
120
if you can
frames.
display it. Yeah, it's
right.
incredible.
Yeah.
Insane.
But I do think it falls into that category of like, I think we discount the platformer because we've done it so many times, you know? But this is one of the absolute best one, a Metroid game,
Oh.
you know, like of all time. Like I'm not kidding. Like
Mhm.
go play
Yeah.
that game. Ah,
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I'm already getting upset and the awards aren't even here. Frustrating.
All right. Let's do next category before Alex loses it. Just blows his top. We got to get this done. Best narrative. You guys ready for this?
No.
I feel like the voting booth, this is going to be a bloodbath on this one. But, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and of course, Last of Us Part 2.
Who
You
wants
know,
to start?
What do you guys think? There's a lot of debate on Last of Us, right? A lot of hate and love. It's like one of the most polarizing games out there, probably on this list.
See,
But I mean, it's still the
only-
one I come back to.
I have two schools of thought here. Right, I want to go Last of Us because I think that's one of the most brilliantly written games I've ever seen in my life, and I love everything about what that game does. And obviously, I'm on the positive side of where that story goes. I love the direction it takes. At the same time, I love Hades' story, but not because I think it's a well-written story, but also the way they use that story to contextualize the roguelike structure. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that they will consider, to like using it to justify why you're making runs repeatedly. I think that's really remarkable in itself. I'm going back and forth on that, but I want to lean Last of Us. I think Last of Us will win it probably if you had to hand out, and I would be totally fine with that. But
Your girlfriend literally texted me saying, "Make sure Last of Us doesn't win."
that is true. She's not watching that, is she? She watching this?
She literally, like last week, she goes, "If you let them, and make sure Marcus doesn't do it. If you let him let that game win, I'll kill you." I was like,
Yeah, she's very much Team Hades, which I'm Team Hades. It's my game of the year too. But I
Yeah.
think for narrative, I mean, Last of Us, yeah, it's the story that has stuck with me the most this year. So I think that's going to win in spite of the vitriol around it.
Here's the thing with the Last of Us. Let's talk about this for 2 seconds, so Ben doesn't kick me
No
off the
spoilers,
show.
though. We'll
Yeah,
won't
no
do any
No spoilers. No spoilers. We always talk, and I hear this because I've said it a billion times, and I hear all my journalist friends talk about it. We always we can't talk about Last of Us without talking about the backlash surrounding it. But I think what people don't understand is that backlash is actually a lot more contained than people realize. The backlash is really actually small, and the numbers the numbers prove that. The sales numbers prove that. The amount of people that have bought it post-launch proves that. It's on a trajectory that the first game was on, and people loved that game. And I feel like the hate is really only in the certain circles of the people that are just always online, always just crapping on a toilet with a cell phone in their hands online. And I feel like if we look at the broader picture, there really isn't that much controversy around it. We only see it because we're in the industry and we're constantly on socials because we all social our own stories.
For sure.
And I feel like if we were the casual consumer, when people go into a retailer, and they see Last of Us, they're not going like, "Oh, Neil Druckerman." They're like, "Oh, I liked the first game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool." Like, you got to also keep in mind that a lot of these people that are buying these games and enjoying these games are the casual consumer. They're not into the whole discourse. They're not into sharing the spiciest opinions so they get the most retweets. Or the most upvotes on Reddit. And they hate that game really is more contained than people think it is. And if anybody in the comment section wants me to prove that, I have a whole document comparing analytics, comparing sales numbers, comparing projections. I got receipts to back that up. That being said, I think that that game is absolutely going to win narrative because it swept the Joystick Awards. The narrative was fantastic. The narrative took us places that we weren't expecting to go, and that's a sign of a good game. Nobody expected the big thing that made everybody mad. Nobody expected the ending. Nobody expected to care about certain characters that we all thought we were going to hate at first. Like, there's just so many nuances in the character in the story. There's one happy scene in particular that, if I'm saying this and you've played it, you know what scene I'm talking about, that it was so impactful between these two characters that we love. It was so beautiful and it was so intimate and it was so, you felt almost a part of their family. And that's a beautiful narrative direction that sticks in people's minds even after the end credits roll.
It's a crime Kentucky Route Zero is not nominated for this. It's a literal crime, but Last of Us is gonna win. Are you kidding me?
It's gonna win.
No,
But it's
Alex?
a crime.
legal charges notwithstanding, I think the strength of that game is its narrative. I know some people don't feel that way. I have not cried in a game like I did in Last of Us. I think it did that thing where I'm gonna get flack for this. I think it's better than the first one, and I think it's made me appreciate the first one even better because of how I see the consequences of people's actions play out. I think it also plays with narrative as a construct and does things that break it, but the themes still work. And I think that is incredibly impressive. So Last of Us all the way.
I was thinking about this the other day.
Great.
I'm sorry, I don't want to belabor the point, but has Yakuza been robbed of how good its writing and acting is? The performances have always been strong in that series because they just use like Japan's top actors and actresses, but like it's weird we don't see more recognition of that. I don't know if it's a language thing. Like,
Maybe
I don't know.
It was
Like,
locked in
maybe-
PlayStation for a long time, and even that it was region locked for even longer. I think.
Yeah,
it's still
no,
not
no,
new.
I more
Maybe-
meant like if people like you're reading subtitles and not always watching the performances, like if that's something that's maybe blowing over people. I don't know what it is. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. It was
'Cause
just
it's
something I was thinking of the other day.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it was
agree.
up for best RPG. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that was it. Like, that's the only category it's in. It's just weird.
there's
Yeah.
there's
That's
a
crime.
there's a cutscene. Sorry, I know I'm running long on this. There's a cutscene early in the game where Ichiban is being assaulted by some other prisoners, and the performance of the guy in charge of like this prison gang was weirdly astounding for a 1-minute scene. I was like taken back by how strong this guy's performance was.
Interesting.
There's some like really
anyway.
cool narrative stuff, like overarching
Yeah.
like themes and then it's like super goofy and you're chasing down dudes in diapers and it does something.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
but
think
it's a great game.
I think it fumbles in a lot of ways with some of those themes, but like it's still
The
commendable
diapers
for
weren't
some of-
soggy enough.
Yeah, that's right, Ben. But still like swings for the fences in ways I wish people recognize more. Anyway, sorry.
I
continue.
agree. It should be.
Nope, fair enough. All right, last we're coming down to the big two. Everybody, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Put on your thinking hats. Best game direction. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh my
Hmm.
Lanta. Oh my
Now,
god.
it's
Those,
simply-
that's some heavy hitters this year, yeah.
Simply a crime, KRZ, isn't it?
It's a
You know-
tie between Last of Us and Tsushima. I think it's going to be a very close call between the two of those.
I don't know about Tsushima. I feel like the direction of that game is pretty cookie cutter in a lot of ways. Of like it's just the standard open world game, and not in terms of like just the world design. That's my least favorite thing about that game. I mean, like the objectives and stuff, not the look of it. But Last of Us or Hades for me probably.
I was kind of wondering, like, is this maybe where Hades shines? The
I would
direction?
love for Hades.
You know what? I'm gonna say Hades. The fact that kind of going back to what I said about the narrative, that it uses this narrative to contextualize the roguelike nature and the fact that they recorded an absurd amount of lines to make sure that every run feels unique in terms of the dialogue and the interactions that you're having with these characters. That is absurdly ambitious in like just on a pure, I guess, technical and performance level. And yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Though I would not be surprised if Last of Us or even Final Fantasy One, because I think Final Fantasy deserves props for completely reimagining that RPG into something totally different that also works very well. But I'm going Hades.
I think that's a good call. I'm looking at this very much like the best director, best picture at the Oscars. Like usually, if there's a couple of really strong candidates, they usually try to split the two and reward the filmmakers at their top of their game. And I think, controversy notwithstanding, I think a lot of that story of Last of Us story stems from Druckmann's direction. And I think because what I think is going to win Game of the Year, I think this is where they give Druckmann his time to get his award and give his speech. So I'm saying Last of Us for direction.
Agreed.
I like
Which
Marcus.
I don't even think he was the game director, technically.
Really?
Isn't he like overseas creative director? But then there's an actual game director. I can't remember his name. I think it's a co-director. There's two of them.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can't remember their names.
Okay.
But
I like
anyway, your point is still taken.
I like Marcus's argument, and I'm gonna vote for Hades.
Liana?
Oh, Last of Us. Yeah, I agree with Alex 100%. I think it's going to be a tight run between Tsushima and Last of Us. And the only reason I say Tsushima is because whenever I talk about that game with people, they always bring up the direction, like the art, or like the direction and the pacing and freedom and the cohesiveness of the story. But I think that Last of Us will take it.
I think I'll go Last of Us as well. Kind of like what Alex was saying about splitting Game of the Year, game direction. I don't know. So
Hades
that leads us to
deserves
last
to win.
category. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Game of the Year. Let's talk about Game of the Year. Categories. The category is Game of the Year. The nominees are, they do 6 of them here, which is interesting. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Totally makes sense. Doom Eternal, which feels like a weird oddball on this one.
Hey, man.
Final Fantasy, which is a great game. Don't get me wrong. Just feels like a weird, doesn't quite belong here. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2 is going to win it. I'm more than positive. I would love to see Animal Crossing win it because of the impact. I've never played an Animal Crossing game, and I wanted to, and I this was my first one because of came out right at the apex of the pandemic where everybody was home, nobody knew what to do, everybody was uncertain. It gave happiness, and the fact that they're updating it every single month with completely new things, events, seasonal events, surprise returning characters for people that are longtime fans of the series. It's just constantly updating and constantly staying relevant, but I still think The Last of Us will win, as much as I hate that.
As much as I feel like it's gonna go to Last of Us, I'm gonna say Hades. Not just because my girlfriend would kill me, but also I think in terms of like the just general critical reception between those two games, like Last of Us is beloved, but I feel like there's more legitimate complaints lobbed at Last of Us than there are at Hades. Like my biggest problem with Last of Us is the pacing. I think that could be better. Whereas I can't find many things to pick apart with Hades, and that felt like just my general scope of like what everyone says about those games is pretty much the same thing. So I think Hades will be almost a little bit of a surprise upset and take it.
Yakuza, like a
I'm
dragon.
kind of wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like, some split there of like people who, didn't like Last of Us for whatever reason. They're going to like kind of split the room, but like nobody talks bad about Hades.
Yep.
Like Hades is pretty beloved indie darling. And I just think about that one year where Walking Dead won, excuse me. I think that's kind of like, I'm kind of thinking like, oh, maybe they'll go indie this year.
I would love to see an indie take an indie title, especially now because I feel like a lot of companies are finally starting to give indies the recognition that they deserve. I've worked for so many outlets who are like, we can't write about indies because it doesn't do traffic, and that sucks because they're not going to get traffic because nobody's writing about it. You have to build it up. You got to build that community. And now like Xbox has the spotlight and
For sure.
Steam has their own indie initiatives. Sony's working on their own indie initiatives. I think they're finally getting, as sad as it is, they're finally getting the AAA support. Unfortunately, people don't care about things until bigger things show their support. And I feel like indies are finally in that. We're seeing IGN with their indie showcase. We're seeing showcases like Indie Obscura, which are award shows for indies. They're finally kind of getting back into everybody's peripheral. And if Hades took Game of the Year, if that isn't a freaking statement,
Yeah,
oh my God. Like
definitely.
what that would mean for indies in 2021 would be monumental in the best way possible.
For sure.
They take over the world. Watch out, everybody.
Blake, how about you?
I'm sitting here thinking, one, it's a crime Kentucky Route Zero not nominated. Two, I think about this a lot. The only year I went to the Game Awards was 2018, and I remember that was the year Red Dead came out, and it just swung through. Red Dead was winning everything. Big cowboy boots kicking the door down, saying we're taking it all. And then Game of the Year went to God of War, which is like, whatever. The biggest game of the year lost to the other biggest game of the year. But I remember that being very surprising and feeling like it was interesting. And because of that, I'm thinking we're going to see another Titan swoop in and get the unexpected win. Animal Crossing.
Ooh, throwing it down.
And I'd like to say,
Not really unexpected, though.
yeah, well, it's also it's unexpected in a way,
so.
like when God of War wins over Red Dead. You know what I'm saying? But like,
I think that would be like last year when Sekiro won and nobody really called that.
yeah, like
Oh,
it's
that's
still
right. That one last year.
it's still basically the biggest game of the year winning, but it's not the biggest game of the year you think is going to win. Also, Liana's points were very well put about Animal Crossing earlier, and that's why I think it's going to win.
I think that's a good call.
I think it is too.
Yeah. For me, I do think we talked a lot about how the online groups have caused controversy around Last of Us. I do think there is an undercurrent in the games journalist space that resents Last of Us for legitimate reasons that people have very eloquently explained online. And I do
100%.
yeah. And I also do think there's people who I do think it is getting a bit of a shine of, bear with me, I'm going into sports for a second, but kind of the LeBron James Ben. Hey, we're podcasting.
Sorry. Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Alex.
Yeah. But it's that kind of LeBron James factor where it's like I think there's people in this industry who are sick of hearing how good The Last of Us is. And I think
100%.
and I think that, to Ben's point, everyone loves Hades. I have not met a single person who dislikes that game for good reason.
Yeah.
It is incredible. I've sunk so many hours into that game. And I think for everything that's said here, I think especially with an awards that likes to surprise a little bit, I think I think Hades has a very good shot here, and I'm gonna bet on Hades.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't want to see Last of Us. No disrespect to Naughty Dog, but I don't want to see it win. I have no problem with it. I've read a lot of the stories. Actually, Natalie over at Fanbyte did a really great introspective piece on it that I highly recommend people check out.
Natalie Flores, shout out.
Yeah, she did and it was very thought out, and I think close to 20 editors looked at it. It was a very well thought out piece. It wasn't just a I hate Last of Us and you should too article, and very valid. And I think there's also themes that you got to think of too. I think people don't really know, and not to make it about women's and things like that, but I think a lot of people still are having a hard time gripping what it means to see a woman take violence to the level that we usually see in only male protagonists. Usually when we see violent women, there's usually either a sexier spin on it or a I'm powerful, I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Like Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I'm violent, but it's my power, reclaiming my time type thing, versus Ellie's just just kills.
Do I have to blur that?
I guess I'm gonna blur that out now.
Sorry.
I
But
guess it's on YouTube. It's fine.
it's not a
She
build
did
up
a
of violence.
Ellie motion for those of you listening.
Her famous hand sign.
Yeah, how else would you describe that?
And she was unapologetically violent and ruthless. She was ruthless in a way that we don't see in female characters. Am I saying she's the first character to do that? Absolutely not. But it is a rarity, and I think a lot of people I feel like if it was a male character, and I'm not usually, you guys know me, I'm not usually a person to be like, it's a female character, so she's automatically getting hate. I don't think that, but I think that it was guttural in a way that a lot of people had a hard time processing.
Yeah.
Because of how unexpected it was.
Yeah. And to be clear, Last of Us is, I think if you force me to say it today, Last of Us is my game of the year. Like for all the reasons we've talked about all throughout this
Alex, who's
episode.
forcing you?
Yeah, no one's forcing
What?
you, bro. Chill.
See?
Is there somebody in the room?
Somebody's behind us.
Blink twice if somebody else is in the room with you.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Blink twice.
Yeah. But I think with all these narratives that we've talked about, I think the sheer bliss that Hades caused universally throughout the industry, I think that's going to be enough to push it over for GOTY.
Even
For
when I
sure.
did see people, I've heard a few people say that it wasn't their game, but that was all they said. Like, it just wasn't my type of game. It was never like, oh, I hate that game or dead game or stupid game comments,
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
are super original and never get boring at all reading those. But
For
like,
sure.
even when people have talked, the few people that I've heard talk about it, and very few, they were still very respectful. Like, I see why you like it, but it's just not for me. And that's a pretty good indicator of how powerful a game is when the internet learns how to be respectful.
For sure.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll find out for sure next week because, as we said, December 10th is when the award show is next Thursday. So watch that. I'm going to tally up the scores. We'll get back to everybody. We want to do one final bonus round here. We're going to try to predict some theories on what could be announced because one of the other reasons that everybody watches the Game Awards is to see the new trailers that pop up. There's usually one or two surprises. Something exciting could get announced. So you guys have any theories? You want some bonus points? Some
Yeah.
bonus points.
Well, real quick, Ben, did you say your game of the year?
What I'm picking
Yeah.
to win, I'm picking Hades as
Okay.
the game that I think will win Game of the Year.
Okay. So predictions time.
How many do you guys have? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a lot. So you guys just go with how many you have.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to start
Well,
with you,
let's-
Alex, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, because you seem pretty
Well,
confident
why don't
in
you-
yours.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Yeah.
go, Alex?
Okay.
I think should you get docked negative points if this doesn't happen?
Sure.
Because you could just keep throwing out like a million
Ooh.
things and like you're eventually going to hit something.
I'll
But,
take that. I feel pretty good about some of these.
okay.
Okay. First off, I think we get a Ratchet and Clank release date. Keely and
That'd be-
Sony have been working together this summer. It seems like in a pretty good way. They're still saying Q1 for Ratchet and Clank on PS5 or Q1 or the first half of the year, Q1 or Q2. This feels like a good stage for that. And it feels like a good get for Keely to keep propping up the show. In the Valley of the Gods gets re-revealed. We
No way. You're out of your mind.
I like to play
I
dangerously.
thought you said you
Yeah.
felt good about
I do.
this.
As dead as the doornail, bro.
I checked. They said it's delayed. It's not done.
Yeah,
But
it's not canceled, technically.
because Campo Santo went to Valve, and then
Uh-huh.
Valve pulled them all off of the game to make Half-Life Alyx. And now we're 8 months removed.
So who's
from
gonna
Half-Life
make it?
Alyx. They're gonna put the
Who's
people back,
making it?
putting the people back on it from Campo Santo.
Gabe Newell gonna swing in, get to
Yes.
work. Like,
Half-Life 4.
I love that
announced.
idea. Yeah. I
Is
feel
Gabe
like
Newell still in New Zealand? Isn't he like out of the country right now?
I think he is.
what's
It's
he
crazy.
doing there? Why is he in New Zealand?
I think he just
He's
likes
a
it there.
hobbit now.
Why is he actually in New Zealand?
I don't know.
Just he's Gabe Newell, man.
Yeah.
He can
I
do
saw him
whatever
in
he
his white
wants.
shirt on news channels for a second. I
He
don't know what was
literally
going on.
looks
Yeah.
like a yoga instructor or like a cult leader with that white.
I like there was
flowing
only
shirt
two
he was wearing.
options there. It wasn't anything else.
All right, in the
Okay.
Valley of the Gods. You
Yep.
think that'll come back? I think you're crazy, but like
Okay.
interesting
Yeah,
prediction.
okay.
Big bold move. I
yep.
love it.
Black Ops Warzone gets a trailer. Whatever changes they're gonna make there, I think is a good possibility. I see you, Blake.
That's
Among
my prediction.
Among Us is coming to consoles, and then we get a Pokemon Snap trailer. Nintendo's had a good presence at these last couple of years. I don't know if we'll get release date, but I think we'll see something from Pokemon Snap.
Okay.
Great. Who wants to go next?
I'm still coming up with Monsfire.
I'll go next. All right. So I think we're going to get our first look at gameplay for Horizon 2 Forbidden West.
Go on.
That's supposed to be next year. So I forget what Q it's supposed to be, if they've even said. I think we're going to get Elden Ring something.
Oh,
I feel like From Software has built a history with this show because Sekiro was revealed at the Game Awards. Sekiro won Game of the Year last
That's
year.
right.
So they've had a presence at these. I feel like this is where we get like, I'm not gonna say what they show, but we get something of that game there.
That's really
Wasn't-
good.
Marcus, I
Wasn't-
swear I had that written down too. It's right here. Elden Ring.
Wasn't Elden Ring revealed at the Game Awards too? Did you say?
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
E3.
Was that-
I thought it was.
Oh, was it?
I thought it was Xbox's showcase, right?
I thought it
I'll
was,
just
yeah,
look it
it was Xbox Showcase.
I thought it was a Tokyo Game Show.
No, Ben, you're just being silly.
Oh boy.
Silly goose. Yeah. No, it was, I believe, pretty 99% sure it was E3.
I'm looking at it.
But
We'll,
yes.
we'll get to the bottom.
And then I guess this is probably my like Hail Mary, but I think or hope that Bayonetta 3 shows up in some form.
I think that's a good one too.
I think enough time has passed. Like, it's been 3 years since that game was announced, and the Game Awards has gotten increasingly crazy with its announcements and like shown that big things can happen there. I mean, the Xbox Series X was unveiled last year there.
Yeah.
Nobody called that. So I think that yeah, there's Heart of Hearts, Bayonetta 3, something shows up. So I guess I really have like 2 crazy long shots and then 1 reasonable one in Horizon.
There you go.
I think Elden Ring is going to be a shoe-in. I think we're going to see more of the new Hellblade. I
Yeah.
think we're going to
Yeah.
get a small teaser of God of War Ragnarok. I want my Hail Mary. What I would love to see is another Dragon Age, because Dragon Age franchises has historically always been revealed and teased and promoted through the Game Awards. I would love to see that. I think Bethesda is going to pull out something because they really need the win this year, and I feel like we're going to see something from Hideo Kojima. I think we could.
Wait, so hold on, back up. So you're predicting that Bethesda's gonna reveal what?
Be
something.
Starfield,
Just that
right?
they're gonna have
It's
a
not gonna-
trailer?
it's
Like,
not gonna
I
be
guess
Starfield.
Probably Starfield, right?
It's not going to be Starfield. I think that's still too long away, but I feel like they're going to either tease something. Maybe it could be a Starfield day. It definitely won't be Elder Scrolls. I think that they're going to more do something promotional like they did with their Save single player campaign thing. I think they're going to do something to kind of rally the community a little bit.
They're in such a weird spot with the Microsoft acquisition that it just feels weird for them to be doing stuff because they're not quite at the point where that deal's done. So would that stuff be?
Well, they've already confirmed.
I feel like they'd go quiet because of that, wouldn't they? They're like, hey, we're not going to like announce anything.
They've already confirmed pretty loudly that they're completely overhauling their engine. So I think they might do like I said, I think they'll. I mean, I could be totally wrong. But I think they might do like a little small video like their Save the single player campaign where they're kind of teasing the future of Bethesda to kind of assuage concerns over the acquisition. I think they're going to try to rally their community to be like the future is bright type thing, and maybe tease some of that because they already shared screenshots of an overhaul engine in progress, and that's something that people have been asking for 10, 15 years now. So I think that, and then I think that we're going to see something from Hideo Kojima, whether it's the new Silent Hills game that has been rumored for a while now, that he's back on that somehow despite the dispute with Konami. I think
that almost doesn't feel like a prediction because with Jeff Keighley, he's going to try to find some way to work in Kojima on some level.
And I think we're going to see an acquisition news. I think Xbox has another acquisition that they've been holding on to, kind of be like end of the year. Boom, we're going into 21, strong type thing. So I think
we bought Sony. See you guys later. That's not a prediction. I'm not taking points off for that one.
That's a lot thrown at the wall. One of those has to stick.
I mean, Kojima probably will.
Kojima one's good. I like Kojima.
I think I'm on the Elden Ring train as well. Like I think
it's time.
We're Elden Ring brothers or whatever, siblings. I also think they'll probably announce like 7 more League of Legends games or something crazy. Like, I think there's going to be some League of Legends. Like we'll see those games again, one of those games, and maybe they'll announce a new one even. And then the other one that I think is kind of bold, but I would love to see it, is it's just been so long since we've seen anything Cuphead related. Where I'd love to see like that game come out. Maybe we'd even get a release date.
Maybe
it was supposed to be DLC, right?
They just delayed it again.
Just delayed it.
The Delicious Last Course.
Did I miss that?
They delayed it to next year.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get
how long ago was that?
show.
Like
this
not
week,
even a week
I
ago.
think. Yeah.
Like this week. Yeah.
Oh, geez. I back up on that one. I don't think that's happening, but I think that'll happen next year sometime, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Blake, what do you think?
What's up? Check it out. We are going to finally learn the next movie we can watch in Fortnite,
Which movie?
Caddyshack. That's what I'm thinking.
Finally.
Gonna be able to watch Caddyshack. You remember the little gopher dances? It's gonna be great. We can watch it with all our friends. Then they're gonna show off what's up with Black Ops Warzone.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe explain how that's gonna work between launching it in 2 different games. I think that Batman game's gonna be there. Court of Owls. Or
Gotham Knights.
Oh,
Gotham
interesting.
Knights.
yeah,
That's a good
Gotham
one.
Knights.
That's a very good
They've
I
one.
think that'll be
actually,
there.
that's probably accurate because they've been sharing screenshot like concept art.
That's good. That's
true.
real,
At the
real
same
good.
time,
They've been
I feel like you
teasing
can't
that game
trust.
for years.
Yeah, I
Why
feel like
would-
you can't trust them anymore.
But they've been doing it a lot more in succession. I think that they're ramping up for the. I think
That's a
you're
good
onto
one. That's a
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Then let's see here. Swinging big. Doom Ancient Gods Part 2 gonna get a release date. And then they're gonna show Suicide Squad.
A
And
new
they
IP.
changed the name to Suicide Club.
Suicide
Oh,
Club.
it just got a lot darker.
Suicide Club is the name of a movie by Satoshi Kon. Very good. Check it out. It's also Sono, not Satoshi Kon. Sorry, wrong director.
That's very
Uh,
bold.
How dare you?
I like.
That's my 5 predictions.
Those are-
Only one I'm feeling good about is Caddyshack playing at Fortnite.
I love.
I think
that
you nailed
so
it on
much.
that one, dude.
Hot with the kids.
I-
Caddyshack.
I'm just thinking about this now. I'm not going to make a prediction. We haven't heard from Overwatch 2 in quite some time,
They won't. They're gonna have a thing in February.
which is why that is dumb and no one would ever predict that.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think Blizzard would want to play with other
I
people.
love you.
that
I'm
wanna do
so
their own
sorry.
things.
yeah, for sure. I actually just thought of one that is plausible. Hollow Knight Silk Song, I think, will reappear.
Liana,
You want me to add that to your list?
You're gonna destroy that one too, Liana.
Step on our throats. But yeah, that game also has supposed to be. I don't think that's a release window at all, but I think we'll get maybe like a trailer for that to remind people that game exists and it's still happening.
Well, there you go. There are bold predictions. They're probably less than half right. Who knows? But there'll probably be a good few fun little things in the show, I'm sure. So tune in next week. You can watch it with us. We'll probably be streaming it or at least covering the news. And thanks for watching and listening to this episode of the Game Informer Show. We really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe or leave a comment or tell a friend about it. Do whatever you can to get more people to watch. And then come back next week. Enjoy another show. Until then, game on.
Come on.
Come on.